What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Al.S Gaming. Today we will be doing a shopping list for the King Mog event, or the Final Fantasy Tactics Part 2 or 3. So let's just get right into it. This time around we have a few event exclusives. These come in the form of materials as well as weapons. First up we have the Zwill Crossblade, again, same name, but this time it's a dagger which does attack plus 57 as well as sleep 30%. Personally, I wouldn't be going for this, or it's not a priority for me, because I have much better weapons and I don't foresee myself using sleep very often. If you're a new player, you may consider getting this because 72 attack's pretty decent in my opinion. Next we have Defender, which is a great sword, attack plus 65, surprisingly less than a dagger, and gives you crisis evasion. Now once again, if you're a new player, this could be a very useful item because it will stack with Greatsword Mastery when you get to that stage in the game. But for veteran players, you could consider getting it because crisis evasion gives you, if I'm not wrong, a 5% chance to evade attacks, and I personally got it because units like Noctis may need an extra 5% here and there based on the materials you have available. Next are the two materials. We have March and Vigilance. If you're a brand new player, go for this because chances are you won't have any materials available to you, yeah, any stat increase will be very useful. As for veteran players, the MP increase by 10% is nice, but we have better materials out there. Most of us would have at least have a MP plus 30% or MP plus 20% somewhere lying around. And attack plus 5% or defense and spirit plus 5%, these two are not very useful to us because you could get, or most of us have better materials such as the one from the Ifrit raid. I think a lot of us have many copies of that, and that gives already 10% right there. So if you're a new player, go for it. If you are a veteran or if you've been playing for a while and you have better materials, don't bother. The last two would be Regenerator and Reactive Defense. Regenerator gives you a chance to counter as well as to heal yourself up over 3 turns. Reactive Defense will give yourself a chance to counter as well as decrease overall damage by 20%. Now these two are very interesting materials because you will be putting them on your tanks. I personally will be going for Reactive Defense because the 20% decrease overall is pretty useful because it doesn't mention if it's physical or magic alone, so chances are it's both, a lot like Sakura's Barrier. And if it stacks on top of Sakura's Barrier or Zargabath's Limit Burst or Riku's Limit Burst, you could pretty much reduce a lot of damage taken. So this would be really good on Warrior of Light in my opinion because it should stack with his overall defense buff when his HP goes low, so making him a lot more tanky, and because of that you can play around with it. You have a choice of using the slot for HP or general defense, general damage reduction. As for Regenerator, it's decent. If you're a new player or semi-new, I would recommend getting it, but when the Nier banner comes out, some of the TMRs will make this pretty obsolete in my opinion. Not only that, if you don't have Black Belt or you need something to give your tank the ability to counter, either of these are fine because countering not only does extra damage, it also allows you to build Limit Burst crystals. So this could be very useful in certain trials such as the Aigayon trial because it gives you a way to build up Riku's Limit Burst other than attacking on your turn. So on top of that, we have the usual items such as Remedy, Potions, Phoenix, Mega Ethers, Ethers, Scream Root, Fine Elchrists, your rare summoning tickets and Star Quartz. So if you're a new player, I recommend getting most of the rare summon tickets, except maybe the 6,000 ones, because those are quite expensive and they're quite a luxury. So if you can afford them, go for them. If you can't, it's not an issue. Next, get all the Star Quartz because these are pretty rare and there are limited amounts in the game or in the story itself, so I would recommend getting all these. If you're a new player, you may not need the 10% Trust Moogle because the other items would take up most of your time, but for veterans or if you have extra white orbs, feel free to go for the 10%. I wouldn't recommend going for the 1% because basically they're just very expensive. 10,000 white orbs would pretty much be about how many? So let's say each run you get about 2,200 for 25 energy. So 2 rounds will be 44,000 plus. Yeah, it takes you about 100 maybe about 100 energy total to get one Trust Moogle. So if you were to go TMR farming with the same amount of energy, you would get easily more than 1% on all your units. So these are definitely not worth it unless, let's say, you got really lucky and you had a lot of extra white moons. Maybe on your last run you encountered a chocobo and you have extra 10,000 white things around. So other than that, I wouldn't recommend specifically farming for the 1%. If you require items like Phoenix Down, Ethers and whatnot, you can buy them, but they're not priority. I would rather go for the Metal Gigantuas because... Gigantuas, whatever. I would go for the Metal Gigantuas because they help you level up units really fast, and the Cactua Dunes are over already. So yeah, if you have to level up characters, new characters, go for that. And lastly, we have the Awakening Materials. I recommend going for the Sacred Crystals all the time because these are a pain in the ass to farm, and yeah, they're pretty much used for almost all units, especially 4 stars going to 5 stars, or 3 stars going all the way up to 5 stars actually. So I would recommend going for that, and get as many of the cheap 6-star materials you can get. I like to be in the surplus, so even though I have a lot of extra, I tend to just buy them anyway. And even if I had extra white orbs or currency, I would end up going for the expensive ones as well. For those of you deciding if you're going to upgrade a ability, so just go for the Giant Crisp because they can be a bit rare if you were to be farming in the chambers, and yeah, if you don't have enough especially. For me, I don't really need them right now. I have quite a few of them from the previous events, and I haven't really awakened that many abilities other than Lunas, so I won't be going for them. But if you need them, go for them. So that's pretty much the shopping list for the whole event. Let me know what you guys are gonna buy. Let me know if you have any tips for farming. Let me know your teams for farming. Just leave it in the comments down below. And yeah, if you enjoy content like this, remember to give me a thumbs up as well as subscribe. And I'll see you guys in the next video.